Hey y'all, it's Stephen Van Kampen-Lewis on June 25th, and today is going to be a show and tell of my early summer, not really early summer here for Texas, just summertime blooming Catasetums that I have right now. I've got 4 plants with flowers that I'm going to show you right now, and you know, first one actually from left to right, my left to right, your right to left. Is Black Knight, Catasetum Black Knight here. This is an unregistered hybrid between Catasetum Tenebrosum and Callosum. This is just straight up Tenebrosum, and I've got some female flowers here, unfortunately. And then this is Catasetum Tabulari variety Rhinophyrum. And for those of you who are sort of new to my channel or new to Catasetums in general, I have all of my Catasetums growing in what's called the PET method, which for me is you have a plastic bottle, you have holes down here at the bottom that collect a water reservoir on the bottom. You've got an inorganic media here on the bottom, and then an organic media here on the top. I use Eco Web down the bottom, but you can use rocks if you want. And then I have cypress mulch here on the top. And then of course I have my little baskets full of slow release fertilizer. But a lot of these pollinia have been triggered, and I'll show you what the triggers look like here in a moment, which means that these plants are fading. So I gotta turn the camera around and show them to you quick. So now the camera is turned around, we can kind of zoom in on these guys and get a close-up look. Actually, these two right here, the dark ones, are 2 of my favorites. You know, I'm primarily a species guy, but occasionally, at least in Catasetums, the hybrids will really catch me in. Let's just zoom in on this one here. So this one here is Catasetum Tenebrosum by expansum, and that gives you Catasetum Black Knight. And you can really see why it's called Black Knight, at least in this particular instance. It's just really, really dark flowers with that super cool white or cream colored callus right there. And it just feels like plastic. Really nicely scented, like so many of these Catasetums. The male flowers have a strongly minty fragrance. And you can see here, you see it looks like there's little teeth hanging down from these guys. That's the pollen, or the pollen triggers, and once those pollinia are triggered and they shoot and they fire very rapidly, the flower tends to die fairly quickly, and I'll show you a little bit more about that on the next plant. Actually, this one, what I'll do is I'll fire the trigger. So I'm going to stick my finger in there, and you're going to see the pollen come out pretty quickly. You see that? So if I was a bee, I would have this pollinia stuck to some part of my back, and it would hit me so hard that I fly away, scared for my life probably, and that would reduce the chance of self-fertilization. So I would fly to another flower and then ideally fertilize another plant. And it's a really interesting mechanism to really prevent, to promote genetic diversity. And a lot of Catasetums have those really big triggers like that. But this one blooms for me probably 3 or 4 times a year, and always this really dark colored. Sometimes it's a little lighter. It's actually, you know, the dark color in these Catasetums is a very dark red, dark burgundy, and sometimes this is a little redder than others, but you can see it's pretty dark right now. This one here is probably my favorite new hybrid of a long time, really. This is Callosum by Tenebrosum. Let's see if I can pull. See the tag there, or excuse me, Tenebrosum by Callosum, one from Fred Clark's breeding. And if you were able to see the pollinia in all of these, you would see that they're all triggered. So I don't know whether it's because I dropped this right before I started shooting, or it's just the flowers are old enough that the triggers start to come out on their own. But you can see there's nothing firing out of there. You can see this guy fired his pollen probably yesterday or the day before, and it's all shriveled up. Same with this one, toast. the colors on these are just too cool. I just love this one. Real dark with that sort of, it is actually a bright green lip there. I don't know if you can see that really well, but just super unique shape. And again, this one will bloom for me 2 or 3 times a year. At least it did last year. Now it's a larger plant. It might actually bloom more than that. Over here this is just straight up Tenebrosum. And these are female flowers. As I look in there, I might see a little pretend pollinia. Yep. So that was actually a hermaphrodite. Had some very reduced male parts there that tried to create a bit of pollen. But ultimately, it's got more female parts, which is why it looks like this little hooded creature. It's kind of frustrating. I have never actually bloomed male flowers on a Tenebrosum. They've always come out for me, even on this little teeny tiny plant that's blooming for the very first time. They've always come out looking like females, which is frustrating. Typically you get male flowers from smaller plants or immature plants, or plants growing in less than ideal conditions. So if you get female flowers, basically it means you are doing a great job of growing the plant, and it is super happy. And in fact, it is happy enough to throw female flowers so that it is hoping to develop a seed pod, which of course, as you can imagine, is very metabolically expensive, whereas male flowers are much less metabolically expensive. So throwing female flowers is a sign of good care. Especially on a first bloom like this. It's not common to get female flowers like this, or hermaphroditic flowers, as I mentioned earlier. Basically, it's a long-winded way of saying taking good care of your Catasetums might be overrated. Abuse them a little bit, and you'll get the prettier flowers. This is Catasetum tabulari variety Rhinophyrum. Let me see if I can get this in focus. Tabulari is typically a brown flower. It's got this big callus here, which to me looks like a tongue. Looks like it's sticking out its tongue. This is a tough flower to bloom well. You can see that the lateral sepals here tend to dry up really quickly. So I think this only opened a couple days ago. I've lost one pollinia to age. Let's get another one to fire. Watch this. If I can pull that sheath off there you can see the pollinia. And of course, this is a really strong natural glue that would have this stuck to the back of a bee. So this is a pretty sad bloom for this one. It usually gets more flowers than that. This one will bloom for me 5 or 6 times a year, and you can see it's already got another spike over here. But I just chopped this one up into itty bitty pieces this spring, so it's recovering a bit. In fact, I can see another spike coming out there. So I've got 1, 2, 3 spikes on this first bloom, and it'll go for me a couple more times this year. Last year I got some hermaphroditic flowers. Really cool looking thing. But again, tough to keep looking nice for any period of time. So, as always, please let me know if you have questions or comments in the comment section, and I'll get back to you quickly and hopefully help you grow your Catasetums so that they throw female flowers as well. Talk to you later. Bye.